Have you ever felt trapped at your job, just watching the years slip by while you keep telling yourself just one more year? One more year for the bonus, one more year for the stock options to vest. The problem is there's always something around the corner. So one more year turns into 5 and then 10, and before you know it, you've spent the best years of your life chained to a job you may not even like, just waiting for that perfect time. This is what they call the golden handcuffs. Hi, I'm Dr. Shamim Nazir. As an emergency physician and investor, I have seen so many high-income professionals, doctors, lawyers, bankers, who are financially successful but feeling trapped. The reason to get into these high-paying jobs is so that we have more freedom, not less. So why do we feel stuck? And more importantly, what can we do about it? Let's break it down. The reasons we stay in jobs that drain us are as much psychological as financial. Dr. Gabor Mate, a physician and an expert on addiction, has spoken a lot about this. He once called himself a workaholic, and he explains that there are two sides to working a lot. On the one hand, if you genuinely love what you do and you feel like you're contributing to society, that's healthy and purposeful. But sometimes there's a deeper, less obvious motive, a craving for validation, and that's where work can quietly turn into an addiction. You see, if working more hours, doing more tasks is being rewarded with money, title, or even just praise and respect from your boss or your peers, it works like a dopamine hit, a psychological reward that makes us feel valued. And walking away from that becomes difficult. And that's just the psychological side. There's also the financial reality. As we earn more, we tend to build a lifestyle to match. The nicer house, the better car, the private schools for the kids, they all start to feel normal, like non-negotiables. And suddenly taking a pay cut or wanting to step away feels impossible. But even if you're careful with your spending, there's still the fear of the future. You think about retirement and worry about running out of money when you're older. So you tell yourself, I'll leave after the next bonus, the next year. But when that day finally comes, there's another carrot dangling just a little further ahead, and so you stay. Now you might be wondering, if we're getting these financial and psychological benefits, what's the problem? Well, here's the thing. Staying in a job that drains you doesn't just cost you time, it costs you your life. Let's start with your health. Chronic stress is sneaky. At first, it looks like just feeling tired at the end of the day, but over time, it becomes something bigger. You wake up exhausted, your patience runs thin, and even small things feel overwhelming. You might skip meals, grab fast food, or rely on caffeine just to get through the day. Over time, it can turn into real medical issues like high blood pressure, weight gain, even anxiety and depression. And then there's what it does to your relationships. Long hours means missing dinners, birthdays, and small ordinary moments that actually make life meaningful. And little by little, those connections fray. And finally, think about what happens to you. Your hobbies, passions, and creativity, the things that make you feel alive, get shoved to the back burner. You stop playing guitar, stop painting, stop going to the gym. Your whole world shrinks. It feels like all you do is work, eat, and sleep. And when that happens, you don't just lose time, you start losing yourself. And that's why it's so important to ask yourself the tough questions. What are your reasons for continuing in a job that's slowly eroding your joy? Are you staying out of fear of change, fear of losing status, fear of disappointing others? Or are you staying because it genuinely aligns with your values and goals for the future? So the question is, how do you break free from the trap? Breaking free doesn't have to mean you're quitting tomorrow, but you do need a plan. Before you can plan your exit, you need to know what you're aiming for. How much do you actually need to live the life you want? Now, you may not have the exact figure right away, and that's okay, but even a ballpark number can give you tremendous clarity. Start by creating a budget that actually reflects your values, not what society thinks you should spend on. Look at your current annual expenses like housing, food, insurance, and healthcare. This is your baseline. Next, calculate your freedom number, the amount of savings or income you need to feel comfortable stepping away from full-time work. Now, even if you're not fully retiring, it might be a good idea to check your expected Social Security benefits at ssa.gov. That gives you one piece of the puzzle. Then head over to a retirement income calculator like the one on Vanguard's website. Plug in your numbers and see what your projected retirement income looks like. Now, most of these tools use something called the 4% rule. And here's how that works. When you retire, you withdraw 4% of your portfolio in the first year. Each year after that, you increase the withdrawal by inflation. Meanwhile, the rest of your portfolio stays invested, ideally continuing to grow. If things go as expected, your money should last around 30 years. But, and this is important, the 4% rule is based on historical data and assumes a balanced, diversified portfolio, often around 50-50 bonds and stocks. It also assumes relatively stable markets and no major surprises and manageable healthcare costs. There are risks to consider. If bond yields are very low or stocks are highly overvalued when you retire, your portfolio might not perform as expected. There's also what's called a sequence of returns risks. If the market takes a big hit in the first years of your retirement, that can shrink your overall portfolio faster than you'd planned. And of course, there's longevity risk, living longer than expected, which is a blessing, but that means your money needs to last longer. That's why having a clear number and revisiting it regularly is so powerful. It allows you to make proactive decisions and build flexibility instead of waiting until you're burned out and desperate for a way out. Once you know your numbers, think about how to make your budget work. First, start by reducing your expenses. Reducing your income needs in retirement gives you flexibility because the less you need to spend, the less you need to earn or withdraw from your portfolio. Look at ways to simplify. Pay off high interest debt, downsize if it makes sense, and cut out recurring expenses if you can. And don't forget to plan ahead for the big ones, like health insurance and long-term care coverage, because surprise medical bills can derail even the best retirement plan. And then think about ways to create income in retirement. Retirement doesn't have to mean you stop working completely. You might choose to work part-time, consult, or turn a passion project into a small business. Even a little earned income can dramatically extend how long your savings can last. Better yet, start building passive income streams now so you have them when you're ready to step back from full-time work. Real estate is one of the most popular ways to do this. You can own rental properties for monthly cash flow or invest in real estate syndications to stay hands-off, or even invest in small businesses or mineral rights. If you want to dig deeper into real estate syndications specifically, I have a free ebook you can grab. I'll drop the link in the description below. And finally, and this may be the most important step of all, is to invest in your own psychological and emotional well-being. Relationships are one of the strongest predictors of happiness and longevity, so invest time and energy into nurturing them. Make time for friends and family, not just for social events, but for real meaningful conversations. Revisit old hobbies and passions that you may have set aside. Whether it's painting, gardening, or playing an instrument, these activities will create new avenues for self-expression. Start viewing yourself in a broader context, beyond the office or the hospital. This shift in perspective helps make that transition out of your job feel empowering, rather than like losing your identity. And next, start making an exit plan. Plan your departure date carefully. Think of it like a strategic exit, not an impulsive leap. If you have stock options vesting or a quarterly annual bonus, or even benefits that renew at a certain date, plan your departure time around that. Don't leave money on the table. You've earned those rewards, so make sure that you collect them. At the same time, line up your next step. This is key. Whether it's a new job, a well-deserved sabbatical, or starting that business you've been dreaming about, have something you're excited to walk towards. That mindset shift makes all the difference. It turns your exit from a reaction to a proactive choice. If you're not ready to make a full clean break, test the waters. Take a sabbatical or shift to part-time. This gives you a safe way to see what life feels like without the constant grind. You will realize that your identity and happiness don't depend entirely on your paycheck or your job title. You're a whole person with dreams, skills, and interests that go far beyond what you do for a living. High-paying, demanding careers aren't always bad, but they become dangerous when they keep you in a job at the expense of your health and happiness. You've worked hard to get where you are. Don't stay stuck out of fear. Figure out your number, build your safety net, and start planning your exit. I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments what resonated with you, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.